I thought I was about to enjoy the party I paid for, but then my mom dropped a bombshell. You're staying home. Your brother and his kids are moving into your apartment. I wasn't having it. So, I did the unthinkable, reversed the charges, changed my address, and when he showed up with boxes, he found a for sale sign on the lawn and a folder with his name on it. You won't believe how this one ended. I was counting down the days to the New Year's party I'd saved up for. Can't wait, I said. But then Mom dropped a bomb on me. Actually, you're staying home. Your brother and his kids are moving into your apartment. She smiled like it was no big deal. So I calmly reversed the payment, updated my address, and by the time he showed up with boxes, there was a for sale sign staked in the front yard and a folder with his name waiting on the porch. I can't wait for the party, I said again later, placing the fancy invitation and event schedule right in the middle of the kitchen table. It had everything: seafood catering, a DJ spinning till 3 a.m., and a rooftop view of the fireworks. This year's going to be different, I added, a little hope creeping into my voice. But Mom didn't even glance my way. She was at the counter, cool as ever, slicing cheese like we weren't even talking. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, she said. You're not going? I asked, freezing mid-thought. What? We're going, she said, calmly placing the cheese into a container. We? Your dad, Jason, and me. I just stared at her. You mean the party I paid for? Before I continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new and interesting stories. Put likes. But back to the story. From the couch, my dad chimed in without looking up from his newspaper. Technically, yeah. But Jason really needs this. You know what he's been dealing with. I turned to look at Jason, who was standing in the doorway, holding his youngest kid like he belonged there. He didn't look one bit guilty. Lauren's been a nightmare, he said, like that explained everything. The kids are constant. I haven't had 5 minutes to myself in weeks. So you're taking my place? I asked. At the party I paid for, with the money I earned? You'll be doing something more important, Mom replied without blinking. You're staying back with the kids. Jason could really use a breather. You've got to be kidding, I said. We're just asking for a little help, she said. No, I told her. You're not asking. You've already decided. Jason gave a little shrug. Come on, man. It's just one night. The kids love being with you. I let out a dry laugh. Of course they do. I'm the only one who actually takes care of them. Watch your tone, Dad muttered, still buried in his paper. Oh, and one more thing, Mom said like it was a grocery list item. Jason's going to be staying with you for a while. What? He can't afford rent since the divorce, she said, like it was common sense. He and the boys will move into your apartment. Just for now. Until things settle. I stared at her, stunned. You decided to move him and his kids into my place without even asking me? You live alone, Dad said, not even a hint of doubt in his voice. There's room. I looked around the room. Mom still slicing and packing like nothing had happened. Dad flipping his newspaper. Jason casually flipping through TV channels like he already lived here. They'd clearly worked this out before I ever walked through the door. Fine, I said under my breath. Go enjoy the party. Mom finally glanced up. Really? Really? I replied, turning and heading to my room. I shut the door behind me. They probably thought I was just pouting. But I wasn't sulking, I was thinking. Thinking about how to make sure this was the last time they ever walked all over me like that. Later that night, I went back to my apartment and just sat there in the dark. Everything was already decided. My party, my place, even my money. None of it felt like mine anymore. But this wasn't sudden. This had been simmering for months. After his divorce, Jason had moved back in with our parents. At first, he said it was just temporary. Just until I find a new place, he told me. That was 5 months ago. Since then, every other conversation was a sad story. How Lauren left him with nothing. How the lawyer bills were stacking up. How tough it was being a single dad. I listened. I tried to be there for him. I even helped out financially. It started with small stuff. Can you cover school shoes for the kids this month? Or mind grabbing diapers while you're out? Then came, hey, man, can I borrow $100 to fix the stroller? And of course, I always said yes. I kept telling myself it was just short term. That helping him out was the right thing to do. But then the asks started getting bigger. One week it was $300 to help cover a bill. The next week, it was groceries. Then gas money. Then came Christmas gifts for the kids. Because, of course, Lauren was being difficult. I wasn't keeping track at first. Honestly, I should have been. But by the time mid-December rolled around, I'd already sent over $1,000. More than $1,000 gone. And not once did he say thank you. One afternoon, while we were sitting in the car, Jason turned to me and said, Hey, you're still living by yourself, right? Yeah, I replied, slow and cautious. Nice, he said, nodding. You've got that second bedroom, don't you? I gave a quick nod, but something in his voice twisted my stomach into a knot. He flashed a grin. It'd just be way easier if I moved in with you. I mean, no offense, but that room's just sitting there collecting dust. He made it sound so simple. It's just empty space, he added. Are you being serious right now? I asked. What? He said with a shrug. It makes total sense. I feel like I've been crashing at mom's forever. It's getting weird. You've got the room. No girlfriend, no kids. You've got space. I didn't say anything. Just sat there. Later that night, Mom called. We've been thinking, she began in that calm voice she always used when she knew I wouldn't like what was coming. It would really help if Jason and the boy stayed with you after New Year's. What? It's not permanent, she rushed to add. Just until he gets things sorted. He needs a fresh start. Your place is quiet. It'll be good for the boys. You've talked to Jason about this? I asked. We all have. She said like it was the most normal thing in the world. He's excited. He says the kids adore you. Fantastic, I muttered. Except no one's asked what I want. She paused for a second. Don't make this about you, she said. He's struggling. I'd heard that line more times than I could count. Every time I pushed back, it was the same thing. Don't be selfish. Every dollar I gave, you don't have kids. You can afford it. Every holiday I skipped, every weekend I spent babysitting, just help out a little, it's family. But it was finally starting to click. This wasn't about family. This was a one-way street. I was the guy everyone called when they needed something, and no one ever gave anything back. The next morning, Jason texted me a picture of bunk beds. Think this setup would fit in the extra room? No. Can we talk? No. Are you okay with this? Just assuming. Like the decision had already been made. I stared at that screen for a long time. Then I opened my banking app. Scrolled through the transfers, the little just this once payments, gift cards, birthday gifts, pizza nights, school field trips, even utilities. All the times I told myself it was nothing. But when I added it up in my head, my jaw tightened. Over $2,000 gone since summer. And now, he wanted my apartment too. Something inside me hardened. No one had ever asked how I was doing. No one cared what I was giving up. They just kept reaching for more. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my brain racing with all the things I should have said. All the moments I should have stood up for myself. Around 3 a.m., I stopped thinking. I got up and started doing. First, I pulled out my laptop and canceled everything. The rooftop venue, the DJ, the seafood spread, the champagne order. Then I got on the phone with my bank and reversed every charge I'd made for the New Year's Eve party. Every cancellation felt like slicing through a rope that had been tying me down. Next, I opened another browser tab and listed my apartment for sale. When January 2nd rolled in, the air was sharp, the sky dull and gray. But I felt clearer than I had in months. I'd already moved into a short-term rental across town. Nothing flashy, just clean and quiet. 2 suitcases, that's all I took. I left everything else behind. No calls. No messages. I just disappeared. But not without leaving a parting gift. Before I left, I taped a large envelope to the front door of my old apartment. A thick folder with Jason Cole written across the front in big red marker. And in the frozen yard, right up by the front steps, I hammered in a bright red and white for sale sign. At 3:27 p.m., my phone lit up. Jason, on the way over. Kids are pumped. Got everything packed. I didn't respond. I was sitting in a quiet little cafe just a few blocks away, sipping coffee and watching the whole thing unfold through the live security feed I'd set up the week before. Just in case. 15 minutes later, his minivan rolled into the driveway. The kids were in the back. Boxes stacked. Bags packed. A plastic storage bin full of toys crammed into the trunk. He pulled into the driveway, hopped out of the van, stretched like he'd just arrived at some 5-star resort. Big smile on his face. But then he saw it, the sign. Bold letters. For sale. He stopped cold. Just stood there staring, like the words were in another language. The grin vanished instantly. He walked up the steps and reached for the door, only to realize it wouldn't budge. The lock had been changed. That's when he spotted the envelope, taped front and center. He yanked it off, tore it open, and started flipping through the thick stack of papers inside. And that's when the real show started. First page, a screenshot of the canceled venue reservation, date, time, everything. Second page, an email confirmation that catering had been fully refunded, complete with the note. Client requested full reversal due to fraudulent family interference. Third page, a detailed spreadsheet, line by line, of every single dollar I'd handed him over the past year. Rent help, groceries, clothes for the kids, school fees. All itemized, dated, and neatly totaled at the bottom. $3,845.77. Unpaid, unacknowledged, unappreciated. Page 4 was a letter. I wrote it myself. Jason, you took too much for too long. You assumed I'd always say yes. You believed I had nothing better to do than clean up after your chaos. You were wrong. This is not your home. This is not your backup plan. This is not your fresh start. The only thing waiting for you here is the realization that the free ride is officially over. Happy New Year. Page 5. A printed screenshot of a video call he'd had with a friend, laughing and saying, "My brother's a failure, but he owes mom, so it works out." Page 6. A signed realtor agreement. Page 7. Notice of listing. Page 8. My change of address confirmation. Page 9. Utility transfer paperwork. Page 10. A blank eviction notice, purely for dramatic effect. He stood there flipping through the folder like it had just exploded in his hands. His face went from red to pale, slow and steady, like someone had pulled the color out of him one drop at a time. "Daddy, can we go in?" One of the kids called from the back seat. Jason didn't respond. He just stood there on the porch, stunned, holding the folder like it weighed 50 pounds. A few minutes later, Mom and Dad pulled up in their car. You could tell they came ready to help him move in. Smiles, coats, all of it. But Mom stopped short the second she saw the for sale sign in the yard. "Is this some kind of joke?" she asked, eyes darting between the house and Jason. He didn't say a word, just handed her the folder. She flipped through the first few pages, and I could see it hit her, the spreadsheet, the letter, that screenshot. Her face sank, slowly. Then she looked at Jason. Her voice was sharp, way sharper than usual. "Did you actually say that about your brother?" "It was a joke," Jason mumbled, not looking at her. Dad took a long look at the house. Then the sign. Then the kids still waiting in the van, probably wondering what the holdup was. "He's gone," Dad muttered under his breath. Mom's phone buzzed in her coat pocket. She pulled it out. It was a group text from me. Sent to all three of them. "Don't contact me. Not about the apartment. Not about babysitting. Not about money. You made your choices. I've made mine. I'm done." That night, there was no rooftop party. No champagne pop. No countdown. I didn't celebrate the way I thought I would. Instead, I sat on the floor of my new place, quiet, small, and completely mine. I made a frozen pizza. Watched a dumb action movie. And then I slept like a baby. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't owe anybody a damn thing. And no one was going to show up at my door with boxes ever again. The first 24 hours were silent. Not a word. I turned off my phone, stayed off social media, didn't check email. I started to think, maybe, just maybe, they got the message. Maybe that folder said everything that needed saying. But of course, the peace didn't last. Evening of January 3rd, I was walking home from the grocery store when I saw it. Missed calls. 6 from Mom. 4 from Jason. 2 from Dad. 1 from an unknown number. I didn't read the voicemails. Didn't want to know what they had to say. I just powered the phone off again. I already knew they'd show up that night. Something in the air had shifted. It started with a knock, hard and fast, like urgency could force forgiveness. I opened the door to my new rental, already regretting it. There was Mom, front and center. She looked wrecked. Makeup smudged, eyes red, hair thrown together in that half-styled rush that always screamed crisis mode. One coat button fastened wrong. Behind her stood Jason, arms crossed like he was the one owed something. Dad hovered in the background, quiet, as usual. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't," I replied, and started to close the door. She caught it with her hand. "You blindsided us." "No," I said, keeping my voice calm. "I protected myself. There's a difference." Her eyes narrowed. "You humiliated your family," she snapped. "Jason didn't deserve that." I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. Oh, he didn't deserve a printed list of everything I did for him? Didn't deserve a little honesty for once in his life? Jason stepped forward, raising his voice. "You ambushed me. You could have talked to me like a man." I stared at him. "You mean the way you talk about me on the phone? Calling me a failure? To your buddy?" I looked right at Mom. "He said that. Just so you know." Jason's face went red. "It was a joke." "No," I said. "It was a pattern. You used me for a year. Probably longer." I finally said no, and you don't like that. Dad finally spoke, voice low. "You didn't have to blow it all up. The party, the apartment, that folder. The folder was the only thing that made any of you listen." I shot back. "You weren't going to stop until I burned the whole bridge." Mom gave me that tight, pinched smile, the one she always wore when she was loading up a guilt trip. "We're your family. And I'm not your servant," I snapped. "You don't get to show up here and act like I owe you some big explanation. I don't owe you anything." She looked like she might slap me. Her hand twitched, just barely. But instead, she stepped back and took a deep breath. "You'll regret this," she said coldly. "One day, you'll look back and see how selfish you were." I shook my head. "No," I said, stepping back inside. "One day, you'll look back and realize you lost the only person who ever held your mess together." And I shut the door. The next few days, I braced for more. And sure enough, they came, just in different packaging. Text messages, emails, voicemails dripping in guilt. "We just want to talk. Let's work this out." Jason even had the audacity to send the kids to my door with a crayon-colored card. "We miss you, Uncle." I didn't open the door. Instead, I started therapy. Real therapy. I untangled my finances, opened a second bank account, shut down the credit cards, changed every password. I called my boss, told her I needed time. She gave me a week off, no questions asked. And for the first time in a long, long while, I used that time for me. No one else. Just me. Then came the twist. About a week after the whole blow-up, I got a call from an unknown number. Normally, I'd ignore it. But something told me to answer. Hello. There was a pause, then a quiet voice. Is this Travis? Yes. My name is Denise. I'm Lauren's sister. My stomach dropped. Lauren. Jason's ex. The kid's mom. I hope this isn't a bad time, she said softly. I just wanted to say thank you. I blinked. For what? For everything you did for the boys. For Lauren. Even for Jason, though God knows he never deserved it. I didn't know what to say. She kept going. Lauren told me everything, the money, the moving plan, the party, the folder. She didn't know about any of it until the kids came home crying. She was livid. Said Jason never had permission. Said he lied to her. I froze. Wait, she didn't know? No, Denise said. He was doing it all behind her back. She only found out when it blew up. And she was furious. She told me to call you. To say she's sorry. For all of it. I just sat there, phone in hand, gripping it like it might break. Denise hesitated. Then she said it. I don't know if you already know this, but Jason tried to take out a loan in your name. Everything inside me clenched. What? Lauren found the paperwork. He used her info to try and fake yours. She stopped it before it went through. Threatened to call the police. He backed down. My mouth went dry. You should probably check your credit report, she added, voice shaking a little. I didn't speak. Denise kept going. I know you're done with them. And honestly, you should be. But I just wanted to say thank you for not turning out like the rest of them. Then the line went dead. I sat there for a long time, phone still in hand, the silence buzzing louder than any words. Then I opened my laptop, pulled up my credit report, and there it was clear as day. A hard inquiry from a loan company I'd never even heard of. He tried. He actually tried. And that folder? That infamous, dramatic, burn every bridge folder? It saved me from something far worse. They thought I was overreacting, being petty, cruel. But the truth? I got out just in time. I used to think cutting people off would feel like a car crash, loud, messy, devastating. Like shouting. Like slamming the door and watching it splinter. Like lighting a match and standing back as the whole thing went up in flames. But the truth? It felt like silence. A big, deep, necessary silence. It's been a month now since I shut that door on my family, on the party, on the guilt, on all the endless expectations that had quietly become my full-time job. I wake up somewhere new now. A different apartment. Different streets. I drink coffee alone and nobody texts me asking to pick up diapers on the way back. Nobody hits me with, hey, quick transfer, like it's nothing. It's quiet. But it's not empty. For the first time in years, the quiet actually feels like freedom. I started therapy, real therapy. Sat down and told the whole story out loud, beginning to end. Every single part of it. The part where I covered rent. The part where I bought school clothes for someone else's kids. The part where my brother joked about me being a failure. The part where my parents said I didn't need anything because I had no real responsibilities. My therapist asked me something that hit me like a punch to the chest. What would happen if you stopped being useful? I didn't even have to think about it. They dropped me. And they did. Because the minute I stopped paying, stopped bending, stopped making their lives easier, I stopped matching. They didn't love me. They loved what I did for them. And that truth? That one cracked something wide open inside me. But weirdly, once it broke, there was finally room. Room for me. My credit is locked now. My money's in separate accounts. I filed an anonymous report about the loan attempt, just in case. Lauren messaged again, asked if I wanted to press charges. I told her no. I don't want revenge. I just want distance. That's all I've ever wanted. Jason hasn't reached out since. Neither have my parents. The last thing they ever sent was a group text. 5 words. You're dead to this family. It should have hurt. But it didn't. It felt like they'd finally said what had always been true. And then, something I never expected happened. A week ago, I got an email. From Lauren. I thought I was about to enjoy the party I paid for, but then my mom dropped a bombshell. You're staying home. Your brother and his kids are moving into your apartment. I wasn't having it. So, I did the unthinkable, reversed the charges, changed my address, and when he showed up with boxes, he found a for sale sign on the lawn and a folder with his name on it. You won't believe how this one ended. I was counting down the days to the New Year's party I'd saved up for. Can't wait, I said. But then Mom dropped a bomb on me. Actually, you're staying home. Your brother and his kids are moving into your apartment. She smiled like it was no big deal. So I calmly reversed the payment, updated my address, and by the time he showed up with boxes, there was a for sale sign staked in the front yard and a folder with his name waiting on the porch. I can't wait for the party, I said again later, placing the fancy invitation and event schedule right in the middle of the kitchen table. It had everything: seafood catering, a DJ spinning till 3 a.m., and a rooftop view of the fireworks. This year's going to be different, I added, a little hope creeping into my voice. But Mom didn't even glance my way. She was at the counter, cool as ever, slicing cheese like we weren't even talking. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, she said. You're not going? I asked, freezing mid-thought. What? We're going, she said, calmly placing the cheese into a container. We, your dad, Jason, and me. I just stared at her. You mean the party I paid for? Before I continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new and interesting stories. Put likes. But back to the story. From the couch, my dad chimed in without looking up from his newspaper. Technically, yeah. But Jason really needs this. You know what he's been dealing with. I turned to look at Jason, who was standing in the doorway, holding his youngest kid like he belonged there. He didn't look one bit guilty. Lauren's been a nightmare, he said, like that explained everything. The kids are constant. I haven't had 5 minutes to myself.